everyone. I trust you are well and keeping healthy. Well, today I want us to continue on sugar, and then we can move on to another topic, a later time. So, the Zambian market is flooded with sugary drinks. It almost feels like Zambia is drowning in sugar. By the way, I spent some time these past 2 weeks or so just looking at what is out there that people are consuming. And honestly speaking, I cannot exhaust them all, but I'll pick the ones that are very common, and then you can make your choice, or you can use the same principle that I'll be using here and apply it to your other drinks that you drink so that you make informed choices. I think that is the key thing. And also, we want you to continue engaging in the comment section so that we begin to create an enabling environment to make better food choices. So please, if you know of other drinks out there that are healthier or better alternatives, please continue engaging in the comment section. You may be helping somebody out there. So with that said, straight right in, and we're going to start with Brothers. The packaging is very good, very attractive, very posh, But what is the nutritional value, which is something that I'm most concerned about? Now, this is a 330 ml container of Brothers. So we have carbonated water, there's sugar, it says there's strawberry and lime. I don't know whether it is flavorant or that just the colorant or it is real strawberry, but sugar is in it. And it's the second ingredient. So meaning sugar is the second biggest ingredient in this drink. Everything else is in smaller quantities, but water and sugar, they top it. Now the next question is, how much of this sugar is it? So then I go to what we call the nutrition information table. There is carbohydrate, which is about 34.98 grams, of which sugar is 34.98 grams. So that simply means that the entire carbohydrate is made up of sugar. Now what does 34.98 grams look like? This is 34.98 grams of sugar, and in terms of teaspoons of sugar, remember we said 1 teaspoon of sugar is about 5 grams. So in Brothers, there is about 7 teaspoons of sugar. If you remember again, we did say that the maximum amount or allowance of sugar you can have is 5 to 6 teaspoons of sugar. Now this one contains 7 teaspoons of sugar. That is 1 teaspoon more than what is the allowance. Another drink that I see a lot of is this one, Pepsi. There are big billboards around the city, but what is really in it for us? This labeling is more legible than the previous, and the ingredients are carbonated water, sugar, colorant, and many other things. But the fact that sugar is the second ingredient is my concern and is the topic for today. When we look at the nutrition information table, it shows us that there is 27.8 grams of sugar, but this is in 250 ml. Guys, it is very important for you to always read the nutrition information table, because the quantity of the container, which is 500 ml, may not be written there. You need to then do some simple mathematics. So basically in 250 ml, if there is 27.8 grams and the container is 500 ml, to know how much sugar is in 500 ml, all I need to do is double it. So in 500 ml, so if I have to drink this entire container of Pepsi, I'll be getting 55.6 grams of sugar. Now, if you again, a teaspoon, if you remember, a teaspoon is 5 grams of sugar. So how many 5 grams are in 55? That is 11. 11 teaspoons of sugar in Pepsi. Now, 11 teaspoons of sugar is about this much. So this is 55.6 grams. You can trust me because I weighed this, which is way too much. Another popular drink called Mirinda. Again, let's look at first of all the quantity. This is 500 ml of Mirinda, and then the next thing is what is in it. Carbonated water, sugar, acidulant. Sugar again is the second ingredient on this, which means that it is one of the biggest ingredients after water. You then want to look at the nutrition information table to know exactly how much sugar is in it, because really there is really nothing else. The other things are preservatives, the colorants, and all the other ingredients that do not add to your nutritional health whatsoever. It's just sugar. So when you look at the sugar, 250 ml contains 32.3 grams of sugar. Now remember, this is 500 ml, so what do? We double. 64.6 grams of sugar. Now 64.6 grams of sugar is this much, almost a quarter, or rather somewhere about a quarter of this glass. That's a lot. Slightly more than 12 teaspoons of sugar. In just one container of Mirinda, you're taking 12 teaspoons of sugar. That is double what is the recommended allowance or the safe allowance to consume. Now, mind you, if you're consuming this, you're not counting the sugar that you've added to your tea. You're not counting the sugar that is in the scone or cake that you're going to eat, or the vitumbua that you're going to eat. So it's just in Mirinda. So now imagine if you consume Mirinda, you then take tea, a scone or a vitumbua or a muffin or whatever. All that adds up, and by the end of the day, you may be getting even 30 teaspoons of sugar, which is just way too much to consume per person. And that is why we are beginning to see a lot of these problems that are arising, like sugar disease or diabetes. We are seeing a lot of people gaining excessive amounts of weight. Just moving from one point to another becomes a challenge because of excess sugar, because what the body does is convert that excess sugar to fat. Be wary about that. The body does not know what else to do with it. It will not utilize it because you're not that physically active. Unless you tell me you're going to take this and then run a marathon or something. And by the way, let me remind you or inform you that cancer cells love sugar. So you could have developed maybe some cancerous cell in your body due to the normal. We breathe a lot of chemicals, we breathe a lot of all kinds of things, we are exposed to all kinds of things that can be carcinogenic or cancer causing. And if you have a cancer cell or cancer cells in your body and you're consuming these drinks that are heavy on sugar, what results is basically that you're feeding the cancer cells. What you're telling the cancer cells is, oh, here's some sugar, grow, multiply, kill me. That's not what we want. You want to starve cancer cells so that they die off. Before the doctor can even tell you, oh, you have cancer, your body just takes care of it and, gets rid of it. That's the level of health we want to get to. Not everything should be curative because already the health sector is overburdened. Now, this is another popular drink, and just like we've done for the others, Fruticana. In 430 mils of Fruticana, you have 57.1 grams of sugar in just this bottle of Fruticana. That is a lot of, you may say it contains guava pulp. Yes, and I like one comment that somebody made in the previous video to say, no, we need to be talking about total sugar and not added sugar. Yes, I agree with that. Total sugar is more important because even in fruit pulp, even in fruit juice, whether it be 100%, it is still sugar. Fruits contain sugar as well. But the reason why we are talking about added sugar is that it makes it worse. In as much as fruit contains sugar, I like the fact that the sugar in the fruit is intrinsic. Intrinsic meaning it's the sugar given to us by nature. And with intrinsic sugar, what is more of a concern is the load, basically how much of it you're consuming. If I'm going to eat 1 or 2 guavas, I am okay. Yes, I've taken in sugar, but it is intrinsic sugar. It came with the fruit, well balanced. It's not added. Added sugar usually is more concentrated. Imagine having a sugar cane compressed. This is sugar cane, by the way, compressed in this. You find that this is probably just 1 sugar cane or 2 sugar canes just compressed in this and added to your beverages. So I would rather have sugar that is natural. It affects my health less than added sugar. Now, a lot of people have marketed this or taken this thinking, but it's pure mango. It is the same mango that you pluck from a tree and you blend it and you put it in this bottle. And unfortunately, manufacturers actually market things like that to say, oh, look, this is actually pure fruit juice, 100% whatever. And even if it was real fruit, like I've said, compressed in 1 bottle, it is not worth it. Better get a whole fruit, consume a whole fruit than consuming it in a concentrated form. But anyway, this container of Embe contains 500 mils and contains 60 grams of sugar. Now 60 grams of sugar, that's about 12 teaspoons of sugar because a teaspoon is 5 grams of sugar. And this again is way too much. 12 teaspoons of sugar looks roundabout like this. This is a lot, guys. The ultimate thing though that I want you to know is that anything in a packaged food, like ultra processed foods, cannot be entirely healthy. Let's be honest. There are very few, and this is something that an expert in nutrition told me when we were coming up with the Zambian food-based dietary guidelines, because at the time we were coming up with what we call the good food logo. How is it that you're going to put a good food logo on an ultra processed food? I said it's possible. There are businesses out there that are actually coming up with healthy alternatives. And she's like, which one? I tried to mention, I don't think I could even get to 3. So really, that's one thing you need to remember, that anything that comes in a packaged form oftentimes will have to have a lot of preservatives, a lot of chemicals added to it, colorants and so forth, and that in itself is not a good option. Just keep that at the back of your mind, even when we are trying to assess them and try to point you to what is better than the other. All of them, so to speak, let me just be bold enough to say all of them are in the ultra processed category, and I couldn't even find 2 that I can say these, no matter what, are good for you. Because it could be good in one thing, like it has milk, but then it also has excess sugar, or it has sorghum, but it also contains excess sugar. And talking about sorghum, this drink is now popular on the market. It's called Sogo, and I think the so comes from the sorghum. But yeah, Sogo is a drink that is said to be a healthy cereal drink, and this is 500 mils. What is in it? There are a number of people who are allergic to, say, gluten, are allergic to soya, are allergic to lactose, and so on and so forth. And so it is important that they have that ingredients list. The ingredient list tells me that there is treated water, and the next big ingredient is maize meal. The ingredient list is always listed in descending order. Descending order means the biggest is on top, and then you start going to the smallest. The biggest one is treated water, followed by maize meal. Now, when I saw this, I was a bit disappointed. I said, okay, you're marketing this as sorghum, sogo, but how is it that it's got maize? And on the picture there, you've put sorghum as the first ingredient there. You've even carefully taken the photo to make sure that sorghum takes the center stage, and then the other ingredients. But then on the ingredients list, it tells me that maize meal is the second largest quantity of ingredients in here, and then sugar, and then sorghum only comes 4th on the list. So it is water, maize meal, sugar, then sorghum. Sorghum is number 4. It's not even among the top 3. So already that is a concern to me, and I feel cheated, so to speak. How is it that you're going to put maize forefront and call it, maybe call it maize sogo or something? I don't know, but just the fact that maize is the second biggest ingredient, it's like there's less sorghum than maize, and we know that maize has less nutrients in it, and if it's the refined kind, it has a higher glycemic index, sugar added to it as well. And then fine, since we're on the subject of sugar, how much of this sugar is in it? And you see that it says glycemic carbohydrate, which is 15.5, and then it says total sugar is 10.17. Now, 10.17 in what? 500 mils? No. 200 mils? No. It is written up there. In 100 mils of this drink, we have 10.17 grams of sugar in 100 mils. Now this is 500 mils. So you say 10.17 times 5, 50.85 grams of sugar. 10 teaspoons or close to 11 teaspoons of sugar. That is a lot of sugar for a so-called healthy cereal drink. In this drink called Sogo, there is basically 50.85 grams of sugar. This is how much sugar is in here. The other drink that I see a lot of, and trust me, each time I go to, let's say, an under 5 clinic, you'll find a mother with this in the handbag. Or now papa mwana, the child is busy drinking this. A mother will leave her home with a hungry child, knowing that nimsendera porridge. Wane, what are we doing to our children? This is not porridge. This, let's look at what is in it. 500 mils of shake and sip contains treated water, right? Sugar, milk powder. You'll be like, yay, milk powder. But the top three ingredients is just milk, sugar, and treated water. And then the next one is corn starch, and then preservatives, and so on and so forth. So you'll be excited to see milk. You're like, yeah, all children need milk, right? Milk is good for strong bones and strong teeth and so on and so forth. Yes, milk is good, but should it be loaded with sugar? So how much sugar then is in here? On the nutrition information table, we see that there is 9.7 grams of sugar in 100 meals. So you times that by 5. 48 grams of sugar, ladies and gentlemen, looks like this. So in shake and sip, there is this much sugar. Now you are giving this much sugar to a 1-year-old, 6-month-old, 8-month-old. You are loading them with this much sugar. Now let me talk about nutrition in infancy. When you are loading a child with excess amount of sugar, you are basically training them to have an affinity for sugar. You are basically telling them to say, sugar is good for you. You are training their taste buds to want sugar. And then we get surprised when they are 30, they are 40, they are saying, I can't do away with sugar. I love sugar. Or, you get surprised. Now when they are teenagers, you want to stop them from sugar. When, from the time they were 6 months, you've been training them to consume or to love sugar. So we need to be careful how much sugar we are giving our children. The other drink I see on the market is this one. Milk it. You pop it in your child's bag so that they carry and drink it at break time. Now you say milk it, even from the name itself, milk, good for strong bones and teeth. But if it is loaded with sugar, it defeats the purpose of the milk. It's like the milk goes, yay, and then you pour sugar on the milk and the milk goes, oh, no. Yeah, so in Milk It, there is 29 grams of sugar. If you remember, do the math. We said 1 teaspoon of sugar is 5 grams. So this one contains about 6 teaspoons of sugar. Now that's what you have as allowance for the day. So if you're going to now compress that allowance and put it in these 250 meals, and some people even take the bigger one. There's the 500 meals version of this product, and if you're going to consume that, you're consuming way more sugar, and 250 meals is around about 29 grams of sugar, and 29 grams of sugar is this much. Please let us keep our manufacturers accountable. They do not label these to decorate. It is for you and I to read what is in it and make an informed choice. We've made this law to protect you out there. So if the manufacturer is going to do a product where they want to put 50 teaspoons of sugar, it's very difficult to stop them. You know why? Because it doesn't affect safety. Of course, there are certain, let's say, preservatives like BHA that have been banned. Products with, let's say, tetrazine and so forth. Of course, they'll stay away from those. But from that which is allowed, actually even sugar is a preservative. Yeah, it's a way of preserving foods. It's called sugaring. And if you've noticed, the trend here is most of them are around 500 meals will be around 50 grams of sugar. Others even up to 60 grams. All that is so that it preserves, it stays longer on your shelf. So I can keep this up to the end of the year. And I think that is what is most important to the manufacturer, to see to it that this can stay on the shelf until you choose to buy it. If you have to do drinks that have no preservatives, they'll have a shorter lifespan. And I think someone asked me, if I have to make a drink at home, what can I use to preserve it? They're natural preservatives. For me, if I have to preserve something, it should be for 2-3 days, maximum 1 week. If it's going to stay longer than that, you probably have to use all these chemicals, load it with chemicals so that it stays for 3 months, 6 months, and so forth. But if you're going to make, let's say, lemon juice at home, kombucha at home, tamarind drink, or mahuyu drink, adding, let's say, a bit of lemon to it, or fermenting it is another way of preserving it without adding too many chemicals. The other drink that, for me, I felt was a bit alarming was Nutrasip. This is the packaging. It is 500 mils. But what was striking about this drink when I was shopping around for these drinks was the amount of sugar. I told myself, wait, it only has this much? in here? Oh, I almost passed it to say, this is a go-to. Then I said, okay, let me then read the ingredients. And that's why it's very important to read your food labels, guys. So when I first of all looked at the ingredients list, I saw that it has water, obviously, and it has soya milk. Good product, especially if you're not allergic to soya. Soya milk is, we call it a substitute, a milk substitute, or a plant-based milk. It's not really milk, but the word milk comes because of the fact that it looks like milk, but really it's a plant-based extract. It's not animal milk. So soy milk, it also then has sugar, and then, so sugar is the third ingredient. And then it has fruit juice concentrate. And I went down the list and it said it contained sweetener. Then I said, oh, okay. So that's why it's sweet. Because when I saw the amount of sugar, when you go to the nutrition information table, it shows you that it has carbohydrate, of which sugar 6.28. I said 6.28 is only about slightly over 1 teaspoon of sugar. So you mean to tell me in 500 meals, it only has 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of sugar is only about this much. So I said, wait, this then is a good drink. But then it also has juice, fruit juice concentrate. And like I remember I said, fruit juice concentrate is where they take 10 peaches, process it, remove the water, remove the fibrous thing, and then just give you that, maybe say in powder form. Now mind you, these are 10 peaches compressed in maybe say 1 tablespoon, and they add it to this. But that is a lot of sugar if you look at it. Yes, it is intrinsic in the sense that it is natural from the fruit, but the fact that it's in a concentrated form, it still adds to the total sugar. And then on top of that, there is added sugar, and then there are sweeteners added to it. Oh God, it just makes it a bit way too much. And even when you taste it, it is quite sweet. The fact that fruit concentrate is top on the ingredients list, as well as sugar, makes me feel a certain kind of way about it. And also it has sweeteners, and some sweeteners can be up to 200 times sweeter than sugar. One example is aspartame. The sweetener codes, which we'll need to look up, it has E952, E954, and E950. I'll need to check what those are exactly, but if at all one of them is aspartame, not saying it is, but if at all it is aspartame, I know aspartame is 200 times sweeter than sugar. Now, do you really want that? Now, one can say, but it's a sweetener, it's non-nutritive. Sweeteners have their own problems. There is a paper that just came out 2023 that was saying that there is not sufficient information to conclude that the sweetener aspartame causes cancer, but there are other issues. When you look at other papers, there are other issues that it can cause, and so I would rather lay off it and lay off all sweeteners, because it also alters your taste buds. Imagine having something that is 200 times sweeter than sugar. You bite into an apple and you think the apple is not sweet. You eat a banana and you feel there is no sugar in this banana, and so that in itself makes you have a stronger affinity for sweet foods. You'll be craving more of these sweeteners, which will also affect other areas of your health. And so limit. It looks like I'm a party pooper. I have talked a lot about what you should avoid and how excess sugar affects your health and so on and so forth. But maybe your question now is, what other alternatives are out there that are good? Again, I'm going to reiterate that number one, ultra processed foods, generally speaking, there is really nothing much that you can get from them. They are loaded with preservatives, sugar included. Sugar is also a preservative. And so in as much as it gives you energy, it gives you energy that you do not need, and energy that is going to gush out in your bloodstream very quickly and shoot your sugar levels, causing a number of health problems. We sometimes are in situations where we want to drink something and you want to make a healthier choice. And my role here is to point you to what is better. It may not be the best. And I think even in the comments section, you will note in the previous video that I was really emphasizing on better and not best. Everything in moderation is the key here. What do I choose that is a better option? Firstly, I would choose something maybe fermented, like kombucha. And there are different kinds. And again, I'm not marketing these products. I'm just here to point you to drinks that are better out there. I have not been paid by any of these manufacturers. That I think you need to know. I am not paid by any of these people to talk about their products, but I'm basically just using what they have informed you and me on the label. So this is kombucha by Umoyo. Let's just look at the ingredients list. Contains water, African red rooibos tea. It also then contains sugar. But I like that the manufacturer also notes that in any fermented drink, really, like kombucha, and in this one particularly, it's been mentioned that the majority of the sugar is actually consumed by the culture. So basically, bacteria that is added to ferment this product feeds on the sugar as it sits on the shelf or as it is being manufactured, so that it consumes the sugar and gives it that fermented taste. And so this is kombucha. I would say it doesn't contain much sugar, but I still feel the manufacturer could have told us how much of each ingredient is in there. There is no nutrition information table, but at least the ingredients list is there so that you know how much of it. Sugar may be the third ingredient. And again, I'm going to speak on this. When you look at your ingredients list, focus on the top 3 ingredients. If sugar is among the top 3 ingredients, that is probably not a product that is good for you. And that is why I feel Umoyo felt the need to tell you to say, look, even if sugar is the third ingredient, majority of that sugar is consumed by the bacteria. And that is why even I would recommend you to drink kombucha as a healthier alternative. When I tasted this, I had not consumed this prior to last night actually. And when I drank it, it was a bit too soury. Diluted it, it felt much better. So you can actually share this with 3-4 people, where you just dilute and drink it if you feel it is too strong. The other fermented drink that I would recommend is kombucha. The reason why I'm speaking about 2 different kinds of kombucha today is because one is carbonated, the other is not. So the one by Umoyo, this kombucha is not carbonated, but this kombucha is carbonated. If you have gases, for example, we know what carbon dioxide can do to our gut system. May not be the best option. I would rather go for the not carbonated one, but it is still a better option. Perhaps you may need to just pick the one that is not gouged, because obviously then it contains more gas. Maybe when it's just reasonably fermented, you can consume it. The sugar, this is how much sugar we are told it contains. It has about 18 grams of carbohydrate, but I'm thinking from the ingredients list, majority of this carbohydrate would be sugar, because it only has sugar and ginger and so forth, and majority of which I think should be added sugar, which the bacteria feeds on. And so by the time you're consuming it, there's just very little left of this. And so if I have to pick a drink to drink and I'm on the go, I would have this as an option, but obviously minus the gas. Then there are various kinds on the market. This is just a tool for you to explore. And so I'll need you to do your own homework and go out there and look for what is appropriate for you. Okay, let me talk about Red Passion. So this is another drink. The only challenge I have with these products is I don't seem to find the nutrition information table. It would be good to know how much in terms of quantity, in terms of grams have been added, or what active ingredient is there. But I think the ingredients list will suffice for products like this, like hibiscus flower. It has lemongrass, it has cinnamon. Already I'm on the 3rd ingredient and there is no sugar. That for me is a good sign. And then the next one is alkaline water. Then sugar comes as the 5th ingredient on the list, and then potassium sorbate, which is a preservative. And so I think it is a better option. The one with the turmeric actually has honey added to it instead of sugar, which is also a better option. So if you have to start changing, instead of the drinks that have 50 plus grams of sugar, you may want to pick those that have less sugar, at least within the allowance. But there is also Forest Africa that I found out there on the market. So this is a product by Forest Africa, and this is how much sugar this is in here. It said it contained 19 grams of sugar. That is total sugars, and I'm assuming this is the added sugar, because when I looked at the ingredients list, and I like that it is fairly legible, baobab pulp, and then brown sugar that is added to it. So brown sugar is the second ingredient, and that was my concern. I said, okay, brown sugar is the second ingredient, and when you look at the top 3 ingredients, if sugar is one of them, it is not a good product for you, but it has brown sugar. Then I went to, fine, it is the second ingredient, but how much sugar is in it? And so I went to the nutrition information, and it said it had 19 grams of sugar. If you round up, let's just say 20 grams of sugar, which is about 4 teaspoons of sugar. So if I have to take this, let's say for breakfast, I'm still within my allowance, right? I have not exceeded 5 teaspoons of sugar. So I can have this and it's quite filling. I have this for breakfast and I'm good to go. The other benefit is that it also has mabuyu. And to know how much or whether it has enough mabuyu to call it a mabuyu drink, I looked at the ingredients list, and baobab, which is mabuyu really, was the first ingredient. So basically what I'm being told is it has more of mabuyu than all the other ingredients listed on the list, which is a good thing, because you know what? Mabuyu is an excellent source of calcium. It's an excellent source of vitamin C as well. Well, calcium maybe not so much, because you can talk about other products that can prevent its absorption. So mainly calcium from plants is questionable because of its bioavailability, basically the ability for the body to extract it and utilize it. But it has a lot of vitamin C, actually 10 times more vitamin C than lemons, 10 times more vitamin C than oranges. You know, when we talk of vitamin C food, you think of an orange, but you never think of your wild foods like mabuyu. So for me, the fact that mabuyu is the first ingredient here is a plus. And if I have to be out there or even pack something for my kids or family to take away from home, I would definitely choose a product like this. Now, I want us to be cautious. Even when we are saying these products are better options, others have gone to the extent of trying to sugarcoat these products by saying, for example, this one, it contains chia seeds, and look at how suspended the chia seeds are in this product, you know, and make you feel, oh, I know about chia seeds. Chia seeds is good for my digestion. It contains good fiber, my gut health, and a number of other benefits. We can go on and on. Chia seeds are good. But then when you have a product like this and then you load it with sugar, that's where now I have a concern. So this again is an imported product. I checked, it had 34 grams of sugar. That's about close to 7 teaspoons of sugar in here. But then you would say, but it has chia seeds, so forget the sugar. No, you know, the chia seeds are swimming. They're doing back summers and front stroke and butterfly stroke in sugar. Is that good? Personally, no. It's not an overwhelming amount of sugar, and you may say, yeah, I am also getting some chia seeds with it, but it's still 7 grams, slightly above what is recommended. So I would put it as second better choice, so to speak. But also, there are other products that will come to you and say, okay, there is no sugar added to it. This has 0 sugar, so yay, this is good. No, slow down. Yes, it has no sugar, and I think Coca-Cola has made some great strides in trying to provide you with products that have less sugar, because this is one of the companies that produce a lot of beverages with sugar, excessive amounts of sugar, but they've provided a product such as this that has 0 sugar. And I see a lot of diabetics, some patients that I have interacted with who have said, but I take 0 Coca-Cola, which is good. Yeah, it will not spike your sugar levels and so forth, but it also has aspartame and all kinds of preservatives added to it. And I would say you still want to lay off of this. Because it says 0 sugar does not mean you can hammer 5, 6 of these in a day and say, but my sugar levels are not affected. Yeah, they're not affected, but other health aspects are also affected, like sweeteners like aspartame, and there are a number of other kinds of non-nutritive sweeteners that are added to these beverages that are still going to cause some kind of problem. Maybe not in the immediate, but in the future. So please limit your intake of ultra processed foods and beverages. And then there are energy drinks. Kung Fu energy drink, and there are so many on the market. I'm just not picking on this because I don't like, who is this, Bruce Lee or something? No, there are a number of other energy drinks out there. Wildcat, uh, I don't know. You know them. Anyway, Kung Fu is one of them, and it has 50 grams of sugar added to it. So in this product, this is how much sugar is in it. 50 grams of sugar in 500 mils of Kung Fu. And so this product is also not necessarily good for you because of the excess sugar, the caffeine as well. I'm really pro nature. We are supposed to sleep. We are supposed to rest. So stop preventing yourself from sleeping by taking these energy drinks, by taking excessive amounts of caffeine to stay awake. The fact that you have to take them to stay awake is already an indication that you need to sleep. Just sleep to re-energize and start your day on a clean slate. You do not need to take these because over time they become addictive. Somebody actually did inbox me and say they have become addicted to drinks like Kung Fu. And addiction is not a good thing because once you become hooked to them, that's all you want. It's like alcohol. You get hooked to it, it becomes your food, your lifeline, and that's not right. You need to lay off some of these excessive drinks. So if you have to take this to stay awake, our truck drivers, if you are a truck driver out there and you are listening to me, I have seen you on the roads and you are taking a lot of these drinks to stay awake so that you can drive long distances. Please pick more natural foods and rest. If you're a student and you need to stay out, the fact that you are taking these, just accept that you did not study enough. Study what you can and rely on this. This guy here, this guy is powerful. Trust on your memory. When you sleep, you actually give your brain enough time to settle all the information that you've gathered in the day. I like to think of the brain. My father used to tell me this a lot and it helped me a lot in my studies. He said, treat your brain like the kitchen. If I told you to say, go and look for a spoon for me, you're not going to start going to look for a spoon among the pots. You're not going to start looking for the pot in the spoon drawer. No. You're going to literally, how you've compartmentalized it. And so you need to give your brain enough time to compartmentalize what you've learned. And so if you're working out there, you have a stressful job that requires you to memorize things or remember things, just remember that sleep is best. Another popular drink is power. Now, men, gather here. Why do you take this drink? So, power drink, I've just learned that it's a product of the DRC, I think. At least from the labels here. Again, it is not well labeled. I think the manufacturer could have done better with the labeling, but I did use my magnifying glass to try and assess and make sense of the French that is written here. And from the ingredients list, it contains ginger. It also contains something that I just learned, actually. Thank you, Power. I did not know about this product called Tonkat. Tonkat. Tonkat, I'm told, is a plant. Read up quickly on it, and it is used to help with erectile dysfunction. It increases sexual desires, and yeah, so basically, and that's why now I understand why men are taking this. You find a man just hammering this. It's rare to find a woman consuming power drink, but it's mainly the men, and now I understand why. It's because of sorry, am I saying it right? Tonkat. And Tonkat is the second ingredient, so it's quite concentrated in power drink. But again, it is not, I cannot speak much on it. It is not scientifically proven. At least there is not enough evidence out there that a product which contains Tonkat will resolve erectile dysfunction and so on and so forth. Maybe in the comments you can tell me what this has done to you, if at all you suffered from erectile dysfunction and you consumed it and it helped you. I don't know. I don't even know whether it has sugar. I don't think it's not listed here, at least in the ingredients list. And so it's just probably just one of those drinks that are made from natural products that probably our forefathers would use for erectile issues and maybe treatment of a number of other ailments. I do not know. But that's another product that someone asked that I should speak about. So I don't know. You tell me in the comments whether this does what it says the plant does. Let us know. I thought the power meant energy drink, but I guess power is in the, power down there. There is also a drink called Yes Drink. Now, Yes Drink manufacturers, what's happening? There's no nutrition information. You're just telling me that it has water, flavorant, colorant, sugar, and on top of sugar, sweeteners, and sugar is number 3, sweeteners number 4, and a number of other like citric acid, obviously to preserve and so forth. But then I can't really say how much of the sugar, but the fact that it's the 3rd ingredient, maybe I would say it's a product you need to lay off of, but I cannot say whether it is within the allowance of sugar or not, because the manufacturer has not told me. So I would probably have to take this to the lab to know whether it has excess added sugar or not. But again, overall, we need to avoid ultra processed foods. Eat more of the foods and drinks in their natural state. Make your tobwa at home, chiwantu, munkoyo, even the tamarind drinks and so forth at home, because you not add so many preservatives. Like I said, maybe just citric acid to it. You ferment it so that it lasts for a couple of days, but you're not going to add all these fancy chemicals that will make the product last for so long, but in the long run may affect your health. And so with that said, I hope you learned a thing or two. Again, this is not an exhaustive list of drinks on the market. There are so many, and that's why I think Zambia is on a sugar high, and we need to now know how to avoid excessive amounts of sugar that can affect our health. So please look out and make better food choices and drink choices when you are out there. Take care.
Way to eat. Subscribe.